Alright guys, in this video we're going to cover the topic of sales. You could write a whole course on selling, you can write a whole course on marketing and operations and stuff like that, but I'm just going to cover the very basics so you guys can have a better understanding of what role sales plays in your business. Now, when we talk about sales, there are pretty much four main questions that I want you to answer. Number one, what are you selling? If you're a contractor, you're a service-based business, meaning you provide a specific service to a specific client. You need to figure out what you're going to be selling. As a contractor, you can offer a lot of services or you can offer a very specific service. That's going to be up to you. That's going to be based on what you can do and what you have the means to provide. So if you can't build a house from the bottom up, but you can redo some carpentry work, or you can redo some cabinets, or you can do a little landscaping, whatever that's going to be, you need to figure that out. So you got to figure out what you're selling. Question number two, you need to figure out who you're selling to. Are you selling to a person or are you selling to a business? Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you guys, if you want to make the big money, if you want to make the 6 figures, you want to make 7 figures a year, you're going to have to deal B2B, which means business to business, because that's where the money's at. The money is in commercial contracting, not in residential contracting. Can you make a lot of money in residential contracting? Yes, you can, but there's a lot more hurdles that you have to deal with. There's a lot more hassles you got to go through. You're dealing with people and their homes. They're a lot pickier. They're a lot more micromanaging. They stand there and watch you. If that's something that you want to deal with, that's fine. Everybody starts in residential, but eventually you want to go up to dealing with commercial clients only. But yeah, you want to figure out who you're selling to. Part of figuring this out is you're going to need to create a customer avatar. So what your customer avatar is basically your ideal client, right? So how do you do that? Basically, you just need to get out a piece of paper and just write down your ideal client. Who is that ideal client? Is it a male or is it a female? Are they married or are they divorced? Do they have kids? Do they not have kids? How much do they make per year? What areas do they live in? What do they do for a living? What type of books do they like to read? What type of events do they like to go to? The more specific you can be when creating your customer avatar, the easier it's going to be for you to run ads. Now that's going to be covered in the marketing video. However, creating your customer avatar is also going to help you in the sales aspect, because you're going to be able, when you're negotiating a contract or negotiating a deal with your client, you're going to be able to use what you know about them in order to close the sale. So number three, how much are you selling for? Like I said, you're your own boss and we live in a capitalistic economy. So how much you charge is completely up to you. You can either charge very little or you can charge a lot. I would say find a happy medium. And really, in the beginning, if you're just starting out, you want to kind of match the competition's pricing. You don't want to be too expensive because they're always just going to go with someone cheaper. The only time you can truly overcharge per se or raise your prices is when you're worth it, because you're in a better position to charge more, because you're going to have obviously more overhead. You're going to have better equipment. You're going to have more employees. You're going to have a better reputation. Without an established reputation, you won't be able to charge like the good money. You won't be able to get the high-end clients because they just don't know who you are. You don't have enough skin in the game, and they're going to be skeptical when they're dealing with you. So how much you're going to be selling your services for is completely up to you, but also you want to make sure that you're making money. So you don't want to charge too cheap. You want to make sure that you make at least, at the very minimum, 10-15% profit. And that's like at the very, very minimum. Answer how much you're going to be selling your services for. And number four, how to close a sale. You're going to need to know how to close a sale, because it's one thing to get a lead and have the customer on the phone, go see them at the job site and give them an estimate. But after you give them the estimate, you don't close the client with an estimate. The price alone is not going to close your client. What's going to close the deal for you is going to be how you interact with them, how quickly you respond to them, your appearance, like how you show up when you get to the job site. Are you pulling up in an old raggedy vehicle, or do you have a nice vehicle with your logo, your license number, all that? Do you have like a uniform with your logo on it? Do you look professional? Are you clean cut? Do you stutter, or do you know what you're talking about? When they ask you questions, do you give them options? Do you answer their questions correctly? Do you know what you're talking about? How do you make them feel? Number one thing when closing a client is how you make them feel. If you make them feel comfortable, you make them feel confident in doing business with you, more than likely you're gonna close that deal. If everything is not on point on your first impression, then more than likely that client is not gonna hire you. There's so much competition, guys. People wanna deal with people who are presentable. First impressions are everything. First impressions are what gonna help you make those sales a lot better than others, because like I said, clients want to feel confident and they want to feel comfortable when talking to you. You want to break that barrier of trust down. How to close a sale is going to take practice. It's going to take time. You're going to really have to learn the psychology of sales and how to close a client. This is a very, very, very basic overview of sales. How you sell and what you sell and all that stuff, you can get into so much more detail, but for the sake of this course and just starting out, this is what you're gonna need to know.